Finally she removed the pampers and laid it under Rob, finally pulling it up between his legs and fastening it. She then dug into Rob's diaper bag and pulled out a yellow set of shortballs and proceeded to pull it over the little man's head and down his body, finally pulling it under his diaper and attaching it with snaps. As Michelle finished up, she reached into Rob's bag and pulled out a jar of baby food. All right, time for Robbie and Jamie lunch. With the announcement, both babies had their bibs tucked around their necks and feed bottles of green beans and strained carrots. Jamie was able to get most of the food in his mouth, however the bib did catch its fair share of the meal. It was a little embarrassing to look so childish in front of others being spoon-fed pured mush, but he understood he needed Marjorie to help him. What was worse, his insecurities were exposed to the world. He looked exactly like he should for a young toddler, especially wearing a large bulky diaper. However, Jamie was doing was much better than his friend, Rob, who was having more difficulty eating and his bib was a mess. Being 5 months younger must have made a difference in their coordination. Albeit small difference, it was enough for Jamie to hold on to some dignity. As the babies finished up their meal, it was time for a drink. Marjorie laid Jamie on her lap and produced a bottle full of formula. Jamie initially didn't want to take the nipple, self-conscious others would watch him nursing like a baby, however after his initial refusal he accepted his fate and began to nurse. Jamie surrendered to the moment, relaxed and became content to lay back in the comfort of his mother's lap. It wasn't that he was really thirsty, but it was very comforting and enjoyable to just be in Marjorie's arms while his tongue and checks were rhythmically pulling on the nipple. Jamie stopped momentarily as he watched in amazement as his former boss nursed. After a few seconds he continued to feed from the bottle but kept watching in amazement and curiosity. Marjorie giggled and patted Jamie's bottom. I think Jamie is a little too old to be breastfeed. Jamie had been caught staring. Embarrassed, he turned his head away, impotently kicked his feet in the air and kept sucking from his bottle. Oh no, 15 months isn't too old. Our pediatrician recommended our son be breastfed until his first birthday, then slowly wean him off it. He still had a feeding once a day until he was 18 months. Michelle suggested with a fiendish grin. Well, we shall see, but I'm not sure. I'm not ready to start breastfeeding. I haven't lactated in almost 6 years. Marjorie could tell Jamie was uncomfortable with the conversation by the way he was shifting around in her lap while nursing. Michelle also noticed Jamie's discomfort and continued to press the conversation. You know, domperidone is an excellent drug to promote milk production. Robbie was feeding about 2 days after I started taking the medication. Well, I'll think about it, however for now we will stick to the nipple bottles. With that comment Jamie calmed down a little. Jamie snuggled in her lap and concentrated on the milk in front of him, only looking briefly to watch Robbie happily accepting his lunch. The sight didn't revolt him, but somehow deep inside fascinated him. Both babies kept nursing while their mothers talked about clothes, strollers, feeding routines, etc. Neither Jamie nor Rob seemed to care that they were the center of the conversation. Instead they concentrated on getting their fill of milk.